video, another episode of Everybody Hates Black Men. I'm your host, Edward Anderson. Up this morning. Hopefully you all had a good Friday, having a good Saturday, the week before Thanksgiving. You know, I actually got to go with my brother to get some stuff to get that set up later today. Shout out to my other brother. He's doing like a YouTube-a-thon. He's doing a YouTube-a-thon. I don't know. I may get y'all some links to sub to him. He's trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. He's doing reactions and shit like that. I haven't decided if that's what I want to do. He's at like around 500 out of 1,000. And it would help him out if he gets closer. But I don't know if I want to intermix that shit with him. But I may let y'all know that a little bit later. But as y'all can see, we talk about the Chicago jump story. This is something people have been emailing me on and they wanted me to speak on, so I'm going to speak on it. You know, I swear I should have came up with more series. Like, this would have been a great series. Talk about what do you have to do to not be forgiven series. Which I think is a pretty good series title. And in this episode, you know, we're talking about the Chicago jump story. For those of y'all don't know, maybe like a week ago, there was a situation where a woman who is kind of sickly, has sickle cell, you know, has issues, you know, in Chicago. She was picking up her kids from school and she was jumped. She was jumped by a whole bunch of 10-year-olds, 8-year-olds, her and her kids that are that same age. This was led by a young black female child. And pretty much it's gone viral. Black people are mad, but it's funny how black women are particularly mad. And you know, people have been talking about it. Y'all probably seen it. And you know, and since then, for you all that don't know, Pink Book has been doing a great job covering this, by the way, and covering this the right way. So I'll probably share that. I know I've shared it in my Discord. I'll probably share her videos in the community tab because she's got two good videos, about 10 minutes long, not too long, that are really good. They get to the heart of the matter, which is these kids are being raised by these badass, these fucking ain't shit mothers. And she made sure to drive that. That was the main point of at least the first video. And the second video was covering the apology. Okay, we deal with that later. Yeah, what's up, everybody? And so that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to do a little bit of a more deeper dive into it because, you know, these things need to be done and people are asking for it. But that's basically what happens. You see it on TikTok. You'll see people giving their opinion on it. It's definitely a Chicago thing where it's like local, you know, with Chicago as far as people talking about it. But it's a national conversation as well. And this is like one of these conversations, you know, a lot of sisters, a lot of black women are not going to talk about because, you know, their content, a lot of them specialize in everything's black men's fault. And if it's too hard to find fault in black men in a topic, then it's not worthy of being content. Because that's what type of time they are on. So, you know, this isn't going to be called out even though a black woman was attacked. And the reason why I'm pointing that out is because they don't really care about black female victimhood. They care more about attacking black men and blaming black men than they do black female victimhood. They just use that as a mechanism to make black men look bad. When it really comes down to it, because when white men do something to them, a lot of these chicks don't find nothing to say. And when groups that they not really trying to make look bad does something to them, they don't really have nothing to say. That's something y'all should really take notice, which is why I'm here. And so, the reason why I'm bringing this video up now is because they actually had an apology video. So the mother had an apology video, the auntie that witnessed what happened. So she witnessed what happened. She did not stop her niece from doing this, right? So she witnessed what happened, didn't stop her niece from doing this. And then she got on a video trying to explain herself. And you see the YN in these bitches. You see where they get the shit from. And quite frankly, I'm just going to say it right now. That aunt needs her ass whooped. And the child's mother needs her ass whooped. Because I promise you, if they knew that they were liable to get their ass whooped, because again, you're dealing with somebody that has health issues. That was a like, and that's something Pink Book said later on in the video, and that's absolute facts. They wouldn't have did that to somebody that they thought they wouldn't have did that to no Sharkeisha type that could fight, that could really fight back hard. Which means, and these are females doing this. These are not men. These aren't males. These are females doing this. And remember what I've always told you all. I've told you all that a lot of these females, you got to, what have I always said? They got to worry about these, women got to worry about these females more. Why? Because these women are not going to be, these females are not going to be held accountable. I promise you, because they got juvie in Chicago. I promise you, if that was a whole bunch of males that did that shit, something would have happened. Something would have happened. It wouldn't have just been an outrage. Something would have actually happened. And they actually did go up to the school, and they were trying to protect the kids at the school because people was like really mad. And their first thing is, we need to protect the kid. Like, what are you talking about? No, what you need to do is get DCFS. Like, really, like real talk. This is what's supposed to happen. Obviously, the legal proper thing to do is not to go to a school and beat up children. However, what is supposed to happen, this is what's supposed to happen. The fact that they went up there more in protest than anything, even though it probably could have escalated to them putting hands on them kids. But what they should have did was they should have called, they should have got all of the, they should have found as many. They got the ringleader, and they should have got as many people as they can, and they should have put DCFS on their ass. They should have put DCFS on their ass. DCFS is like Chicago's child services, and they should have been like, "Yo, watch this bitch, be on this bitch," because if she keeps doing, because no matter what her grades are, because that's what she kept on talking about. She kept on talking about how good her grades were and shit. Which her grades are good, but she's violent. Yeah, that works very well, right? Which by the way sounds like something you trying to say to DCFS in case that becomes an issue, because that sounds like something you would say to them. But what you should have did was put DCFS on their ass. And then, like, I'm not even saying that's the only thing you should have did, but that's just something that should have been in the cocktail. And then be like, look, that's number one. Number two, she should be sued. You should sue the mother for what her kid did and put her in court. And obviously, if she ain't got money to do that, help her raise money to do that. Help her raise funds to do that. And put her in court. That's how you deal with that. And I don't know why that's not being done. Personally. I don't get why that's not being done. But then if you want to do some street shit, then that's some street shit. You still can do that. But you got like the legit shit out of the way. That's how you handle some shit like that. Not no just showing up. Yeah, you show up to school to let them know. But it's other stuff you get involved too. We gotta get better about that. Not just getting on some fucking social media and being like, I'm upset. That don't do shit. And let her know if she ever do this again, like that's people watching you. That's how you deal with that. And you keep that sustained pressure. Because the type of the apology they was making, they playing in people's faces. That's what that is. But at the end of the day, when these women need to be regulated, because you gotta remember, man. And I was just talking to somebody about this. Basically, the way the generations are lining up right now, you know, basically 79, like 60 to 79, 60 to 79 is boomers. Like 62 to 79 or 61. Like 60 to 43 is Gen X. Like 43 or 44, 61 to 44. 43 to like 29 is boomers. Is millennials. And really 30 at the end of this year. 30, and then like 13, 30, 29 to 13 is Z's, and then the rest are alphas. So these were alphas that did this. These are alphas that did that to a millennial. And then their kids were alphas. Just to give you some proper perspective on that, because and I'm gonna start bringing that into a lot of these conversations too, because that's something that doesn't really get talked about enough. It really doesn't. And it needs to be brought up more, that the age perspective and all of this. That needs to be taken into account a lot more than what is. Because I think people, because you grow up and you have certain ideas about certain stuff. And it's like certain stuff has changed because the age ranges have changed. So, but yeah, they basically acting like they didn't do nothing wrong playing games. That's essentially what they're doing. Acting like they didn't do nothing wrong, playing games, thinking it's funny. And then all these women are mad. But at the end of the day, man, this is what happens when there ain't no men around. All y'all gonna do is talk, and then they may get violent. Violence could happen, but even the violence is still just a whole bunch more. It's just chaos on chaos, on chaos on chaos. That's all it is. And ain't nobody regulating. Ain't nobody regulating. Ain't nobody regulating. And now people are, and the main reason I wanted to do this video is because, and I know I'm not like hitting as hard as I normally hit, but I'm like, my mind is like split right now. The main reason why I wanted to do this video is really emphasize the fact that at the end of the day, the women are mainly mad because they see another black woman with kids going through this. I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. Single mothers are like, in black women's minds, single mothers are like an untouchable group. They're like an untouchable class. And so they're not going to just really let it slide because it was another black woman or black kids that did that. Really, it was black kids that did that, not even necessarily another black woman. And so the real anger is not that it's just wrong. The real anger is it was black kids doing this to a black woman. And female kids at that. So it's not even like, okay, it's not even like it's male kids you can blame. These are females. And I want you to really understand, if the females are out of fucking control like this, what are the men on? This is like chaos on chaos on chaos. That's what that is. That is some like hyper chaotic shit. No regular and really like these women. Honestly, man, this type of shit, the parents do need to be the look. As a woman, if you choose to not have a dude around, you are the custodian of that kid. You don't get to say a man is not there because this we got to get past this. You know, men just be randomly abandoning women. That's not what goes down. That is typically not how these things go down. Typically, that woman doesn't want them there, and they find a way to make that happen. They find a way to make that happen by being intolerable on the dude that they select. That sets that situation up. Because as far as I'm concerned, if you're having a child out of wedlock, then you're pretty much telling me you want to be a single mother. Because we all know what this is. Again, millennials are like 30 now, as of next year. Yeah, I heard about that. That's a whole nother video. That's a whole nother video. Which, I mean, hey, I'm not mad at it because what a lot of these motherfuckers be doing with this nursing degree, but that don't just affect black people, that affects other people too. But I'm gonna keep it real. I didn't even know nursing was considered like a degree in the first place. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even realize that. So a lot of these chicks talk about they got degrees. It was in some of them was in nursing, which I mean, there's money to be made in nursing. The problem is these women use nurse. The problem is women don't use jobs to build. They use jobs to be independent from men. And so when you see like the stuff that a lot of times that they do with these jobs, they do with there's a reason the nursing industry, at least associated with black women, but not just black women, but mainly black women, is known for whoredom. There's a reason for that. That like is known if you deal with it, like, and that's sad because nursing is one of those jobs. See, this is what a lot of people don't understand about nursing. And shout out to you know who you are to kind of put me on game with that, because Jason Black is talking about nursing as well. But you got people that they're married to nurses and shit like that, so they know. The thing about nursing is nursing allows. I'm gonna get back to the main topic in a second, but nursing is the type of job that you get paid based on the hours you work, but it's one of those jobs that you're not necessarily required to work a whole bunch of hours. Like if you like think about it, if you could be a teacher or a nurse, it's probably better to be I would say if you could be married to somebody and your intent is to have both of y'all have jobs and stuff like that. The reality is nursing is a job that you can plug into and plug out of. People forget that about nursing. Nursing you can plug into and plug out of. So you can dial your hours up and dial them back. It's not one of those things, like it's not one of those jobs where it's like set up to where you gotta work 40 hours. It's not. If you're good at what you decent at what you do, where there's help, and it's always help. So if you have a child, you can plug out of that shit and plug back into it. You can obviously get your certifications up. And honestly, a lot of men need to look at being a nurse as well, because there's different type of nurses. Not even just like nurse. I know that shit is associated with females, but it wasn't always that way. That was really post World War II. Like I know a dude that his main job is he's a nurse, but his main job is to sterilize the surgery equipment. So the main thing he does all day is basically put that equipment in like high end temperature and manage that. That's what he does. He doesn't do the traditional what people call nursing. I forget what it's called, but it's a job you can dial up and dial down. And because it's that type of job, if you have children, you can always go back to it. There's always a demand for it. It's kind of like warehousing, but more money. It's always a demand for it if you have the skills and the energy to do it. And people don't think about that. So that's what makes nursing a really particularly good profession, especially for women. Is it's almost like it's like Uber or something, that a gig work in that sense, except it's highly paid. And rather than women using that as a way to build up their families, and as like Filipino women use it for that purpose, by the way, a lot of women do use it for that purpose. Black women use it to subsidize their independence and subsidize their hoarding. But see, here's the drawback when it comes to nursing. Nursing can be physically demanding, depending on what you're doing. And yeah, you can do it when you're young, but when you get older, if you still got to lean on nursing to that degree, you not, because nursing, you got to lift shit. There's different shit you got to do that can be very physically demanding at times. And if you're just wasting your youth because you want to do what the fuck you want to do, and it's crazy because when you have the perspective of like somebody that's my age, I'm 39, we're all in our 30s. You look back in time and you be like, yo, I like 20s. Like, it's not that 20s go by quickly, but it's deceptively quick. Like, in your mind, the older you get, the more time speeds up in your head. But when you're young, that's part of why when you're young you can't be told shit, because you think shit is gonna be forever, forever, and ever, ever, ever. Which is one of the reasons why older folks have the perspective the younger folks have. The problem is they don't do a good job at really explaining it. They don't explain that you're gonna notice this shit when you get like 26. That's when you start noticing like a time differential a little bit. Cause then you thinking, okay, 3 more years, you 29. Then you get 29, you in that like 29 to 31. Cause you're in shock that you're 29. Or that you about to not be 30. Some people, mature people, will get over that, but a lot of people don't. Especially as vain as some of the people are. Right? A lot of these people are vain as fuck. They're vain as hell. So you can't tell them shit. And so what happens is that they basically get into this, whole phase trap, right? And basically they're just I'm gonna keep it all real. They're acting like animals. These chicks basically start behaving like animals. They stop being civilized. Everything starts to be to feed like whatever carnal need. And it's not just about sex, but that's where the alcohol comes in, the smoking comes in. Them just basically, it's kind of like when you drive for Uber, you can do like, when I drove for Uber, I was doing 50,000 miles. Today, I know people that they do like easily 80,000 miles. In fact, I know somebody that's put 135,000 miles on their car, and they be getting brand new cars too. I know somebody that put 130 something thousand miles on a Toyota Highlander, on 2024 Toyota Highlander. Like for real, for real. For real, for real. And again, people don't think about that in the moment. So, and that's what women are doing with their bodies. That's why all these white women are hitting the wall like crash dummies. Like they're crashing into the wall like a motherfucker. That's why a lot of these women are having a lot of these problems, because they're running the clock up like massively quickly. Massively quickly. And then they sitting here and trying to lean on a dude. To save them basically give them basically a bailout. They're not looking to be led, they're looking to be bailed out. And dudes need to recognize that because women are looking to be bailed out. It's like a gambler. When a gambler is looking to break even, they're looking to break even so they can gamble again. Most of these chicks are not looking to change. They're looking to find somewhere to rest. Anyway, but people don't think about, again, this stuff is explained. But going back into what this chick was doing, like you sitting here dealing with somebody that's disabled, they're just trying to make their way. That's some crazy shit. I'm not even gonna get on to like what nigga. Again, there's so many dirty niggas out here. I'm not even trying to beat up on that chick, but it's kind of like, what dude out here is basically fucking a sickle cell, sickly ass chick? Like seriously, man. Like I really be wondering sometimes, like, who are the who are these niggas, man, and bitches that, like, some of y'all motherfuckers. Like I said, man, it's literally at the point where I can honestly say, like, it's like black people are hell bent in devolving a race. Cause the motherfuckers that should be having kids aren't having kids, and the motherfuckers that are having kids, shouldn't be having kids, are having kids. So what that's starting to do is create like this ratio that's got the black community looking crazy as fuck, man. It's like some fucking Igor shit. Like, for real, for real. Like, for real, for real. Like, it's really on some Night of the Living Dead type shit going on at this point. And nobody's talking about it because there's no money in talking about it. There's no, like, these are not supposed to be for-profit conversations. But if there's no profit in it, and by the way, that's what the church is supposed to be about. But the reality is, even with the church, they still want donations. And they not gonna get donations if they not kissing ass. That's basically where we are right now. If speech isn't for profit, that's what keeping it real was supposed to be about. But there's no real money in keeping it real. All right, let's see what y'all talking about. What's up, Jim Brad, Forever Bless, Darius, James, I guess, over, Ray, Mr. Scotland, Child, Will I R, Man Code, Been a Minute Man Code, Insanity, From Africa I Came. What's up, Jay? He said these nurses I work with 3 days a week and always on vacation. Yeah, I mean, if you got got a dude, you can do that. But see, that's what that job was supposed to be about. That's why that job tend to lean more women, because that's what that job was supposed to be about. That job was not, it was supposed to, it's one of those jobs where you can have a job so you can have your independence that you want to, that these women act like they want, but not necessarily be, I mean, this is a way for you to have your career, but a career that is not tied to some of the issues. I know somebody that she does salon work. She does hair. And I mean, she's capable of doing more. In fact, she runs her own salon. But she was her husband is in the military. He's probably getting towards the end of that now, and obviously they're gonna be young enough to where, you know, with her having a salon, and he'll have probably other shit that he's working on. He's not gonna just retire. I'm not sure what he's ranked, but there's plenty of people like one MT was in the military, right? One MT was in the Air Force, retired. It's quite a few people who's been there, like Air Force or different stuff where they're retired. Marty had, I'll let him tell you what he used to do, but he used to do stuff that now has him retired. You know, where he's getting money off of being retired on top of the other stuff he did entrepreneurial wise is paying him, right? We're in that age where a lot of people are going to be clocking out, but because, you know, we didn't live that harsh of a life and shit, people still got energy to do other stuff, right? Obviously, you know, Fantastic was in the services and he's retired. Grinch was the same way, even though that's not the main thing Grinch holds on to. Shout out to Grinch. This has probably been one of the longest stretches that Grinch has actually been gone. It's crazy because you be like, you know, some of this shit, you be like, yo, what would Grinch say? But yeah. So, but yeah, they start a salon. So that's something, you know, because her kids are like, they're like 13 and stuff like that. And so that's a business. Obviously, that's a business. You know how to do it right. So salon, but she had a business degree. So again, it's about operating in the support role, and you're kind of in the age where people that did that, even, you know, they had their fun, but they did that in their starting in their mid, like really in their late 20s, like 26, 27. Their kids are like 12. Yeah. So you're starting to see the fruits of all of that versus you. So you see it. And this doesn't even mean everybody got to do. Some people are quote unquote single mothers, but the dude is very much around because you got chicks out here that they know how to act, they know how to co-parent, or they got kids with multiple different dudes, but they know how to not fuck these relationships up. You know, the chill females, the chill light skinned females, this is what it is, or chill females. I just happen to know a couple what I call chill light skinned females. I know quite a few. I know a couple of light skinned chicks in particular. They got like two, like three, maybe even four baby daddies, and all them niggas are involved. And it's not necessarily on some matriarchal. They doing what she saying and she dictating shit. It's more so she picked right and she don't make problems. Sorry, I had it on mute. Like she picks right and she don't make problems. She don't make it harder. And I'm not saying that's the way to do it, but I'm saying when people be telling me, "Oh man, I've seen what it looks like to be done," I'm not saying that's what I'm gonna enter into. No, but I'm gonna tell you something. I'm thinking about four women, and I know one chick. I know one chick in particular. She's black. She's probably mixed, but I mean, she looks like a mixed chick, but she's, you know, you can tell she's got black. You know, she's black. You can tell, but she got that kind of mixed look. Just not necessarily like black Latina look, but she got like five kids. Now, not with five different people. She got like five kids. Number one, all them kids look like. I swear to God, all them kids look like her. Dude, males, females. So her genetics are like, what the fuck? And she got the kind of personality that if you say, look, if I'm gonna have a kid with a motherfucker, she's got that kind of personality, straight up. And I've known her for a long time, so she was gonna pop off, pop off. But it'd be like, damn, you got a whole bunch of kids. Like these one of these motherfuckers that you be like, yo, we need to get the race populated. Like, goddamn. And she's like, I think a year younger than me. I was like, God. But other than that, but hey, them kids, they look like they on all them kids are on point. I'm not gonna front. The kids are on point. The kid, I can't lie. Them kids on point. They know how to act. Um, they know how to act. They look on point. They look like they're gonna be addition to society. They look like they got other than her involved. Can't front. And so my point is, but when you look at this, the issue is even amongst that shit, people want to act like that's the standard, and that's not the standard. The standard is women trying to maintain control, and they're using any means that the state allows them to use to maintain control. And really, it's not control over the children. It's really control over what the fuck they want to do. It has nothing to do with anything that's positive. And what's happening is the society is starting to suffer, and people are sitting here trying to blame, strategically who they want to blame to make it look bad. But ultimately, everybody's being affected by the bullshit. That's what people don't want to talk about. Let me see. I mean, at the end of the day, there's what I'm going to do, and there is what you deal, what you gonna deal with. That's what I'm gonna enter into personally, and there is, you know, those are two different things. And so I'm not one some. My thing is, if you making it work, you making it work. But my thing is, people need to go in this shit with eyes wide open, and that's why I talk about what we talk about, right? And so a lot of times, so like for example, like I'm not supporting dysfunction. Okay. I'm not supporting dysfunction. And so I'm a big believer in the kids that know how to act are the kids that you help. The kids that don't know how to act are not the kids you help. I don't believe like we need to start doing class separation. And one of the positive things that I see for the alpha generation is you really starting to see a clear distinction between classes. You starting to see you starting to see basically the bastard class, and you starting to see the class that actually acts like they got some motherfucking sense. And that's a good thing. Because we need to be real clear on who needs to get the help and who needs to low key get left behind. It needs to be clear. So if you want to be a YN, you gonna get YN treatment. It's really like that. You ain't nobody about to help somebody just like you want a generational crash out, and the excuse bullshit is exactly that bullshit. And that's to me that's a good thing. Seeing like kids that they like anime and shit. And I mean like for real, for real. Not on some, well, I'm talking about like they really like that shit and they're starting to turn away from urban culture. That's to me, that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. That's a very good thing. And they're doing it on their own. Which just tells you this stuff has been around way too long. This stuff has been around for way too long. But they're doing it on their own. So they're naturally progressing out of it. Because urban culture is a problem. Urban culture, and my issue is not like, well, we don't need to have urban culture at all, but it occupies way too much of the zeitgeist, the public consciousness. And hip hop is not something we control anymore. That's the main issue. We don't control it anymore. And we haven't controlled it for a long time. It doesn't serve us anymore. And so it's something that kind of we need to like it needs to lose. I'm not it needs to lose market share. People can call it getting away from it, whatever. Because it's creating this like reinforcement feedback loop of negativity and bullshit. And hip hop feeds into urban culture feeds into the matriarchy because it feeds into that like baby boy syndrome, which makes it a problem. Like for real, for real. I mean, like, let me go through what y'all are saying. Let's see, quarter zips. Well, that's the move. Nature will teach those who want to be taught and consider black man held this trash culture up long enough. Yeah, and we need to be honest. And the problem is a lot of people are scared of being honest about the culture because they're scared, what other people are gonna think. But here's the thing, man. If we can get this, if you can get this stuff steered in the right direction and correct it to a certain extent, I mean, you don't have a lot of traditional BS to hold you back at that point. Because every group, like, let's be clear here, every group has trash culture. The difference is other groups have certain governors that protect them from shit spinning out of orbit. That's the difference. Not only do we not have those governors are gone. People actively encourage black people to do stupid shit as a way of maintaining class, class and racial hierarchy. And so when people talk about being pro-black, you promoting a culture, and I'm not just talking about urban culture. I'm talking about any of it. You promoting coon culture, urban culture. You promoting a culture. But the problem is coon culture, cause anti like internal cooning or self hatred culture is a big thing too. It affects it affects um it affects economics, it affects everything when you look at it as a system. And people don't look at it as a system. They don't. And so a lot of so it's not just urban culture. The problem is urban culture occupies more space than any of these other cultures. Because that's the issue. And that's why that's talked about more. But truth be told, we talk about cool culture all the time. But we talk about coon culture on the surface level. People are not really talking about so much so how to actually change coon culture. Because a big reason why people coon is because there's not a lot of money. It's more money and it's more money and easy money in cooning. Just like the big reason why people on the matriarch shit, because it's more money and easier to do the matriarch bullshit or to kiss black women's asses. So you solve that by funding your own shit. You've seen the difference with Kevin. You've seen the difference with Kevin. You can see the before after with Kevin. See how the situation changed when people saw that there's money in actually telling black men what you want to hear. It wasn't just you got a whole bunch of panders. you got people that they're more willing to be balanced, and it changed the framework of the whole conversation. The whole conversation. Just one dude, which goes to show you what is possible. Just one dude really did that. One dude blowing up. How that affect, like, don't people like to look at Kevin from a lot of perspectives, but people don't look at Kevin from the perspective of how he changed the culture when it comes to even a lot of black people. People don't think about it that way, but the truth is he really did. Like, because really you can clearly look at a before after when it comes to Kevin, when it comes from the perspective of media, podcasting, all of that. You can clearly see before. And the biggest difference was people saw that there was money. They saw it was money in basically, there's more money than just kissing black women's asses. So that I've told y'all before, and I'm gonna tell you again. I told, like, really, when Kanye West's third album came out and he was going up against 50 Cent, the reality is that was an opportunity. Kanye West had people wearing polo shirts. Now I want you to think about that. This is 20 years. That was like 2005, maybe 2010, 2005. Really, that's 15 years later. This is 15 years later where you're starting to see kids go back into that because of the rise of anime. Because people, a lot of times, do not think culture can ever be really shifted. They just think it's something that's forever static, and that's not true. And if you understand it can be shifted, there's certain things that can be done if you can control the media. And I'm not even talking about mainstream media. I'm just talking about like the media that we control what we do. Because we have leverage. We have leverage by way of our ability from a media standpoint to influence the nation, influence the world. But we got to have control over our own stuff, which is a problem. Now, people think that, media is not the be all end all. It's not, but it is something. So, but going back to, how subversive some of this stuff is. Like, I was in, I got some food from a soul food place. I drove by a lot, and I finally went in there because look, it ain't the most, up to do, it looks like it's got a hole in the wall type of look. But if you go in there, when you go in there, dude actually has his stuff together. And I went to the website. Website looks good, so I went in there and got something. That's actually what I was doing yesterday. When I was sitting there on my computer, when I was sitting there, and then I didn't talk for like a little bit before I ended the last live stream. Appreciate y'all checking out my live streams. Like the last 3-4 minutes, I was quiet. That's because I was going through that website, and I was seeing what I want. It's got seafood and soul food. I may take a picture of it and upload it on the community tab so you can see what I mean. But I drove by this thing a lot. Now here's the thing. When I drove by this thing, almost every time I drove by this motherfucker, I saw a lot of people there. And it was the type of people I thought it was going to be. A lot of older folks in there. It's younger folks too, but mainly older folks, right? And it's older folks, black, right? So black country southern folks, right? But it was always busy. Like every time I drive through this thing, for the most part, it's always busy. And because I'm not really, going to seafood or soul food like that, I don't eat that like that. I mean, technically I do. It's just I'm going to Golden Corral and shit like that if I go and get something. And then I'm looking at the website, and I went through. I was like, oh, this stuff is pretty well priced. This stuff is pretty much what I'm gonna pay if I go to like Golden Corral. I go here. It's not like more expensive than that, so it's priced good. And I was like, all right, got pictures of this stuff, and it was funny because I go in there. The last thing I was thinking is this is black owned, and I go in there. And then the owner's right in there, dark skinned dude, actually probably my height, like 5'6", maybe 5'7", and but more, maybe. And then I talked to him for a minute. He was cool. He was talking to everybody, And I talked to him. He's like, "This because I ordered from the website, and the ticket didn't print out. Apparently, they got that problem with the website. It is what it is, but they just wrote it down. So I was sitting there for like 20 minutes waiting for the food. I ended up getting the cake. Ended up giving somebody, $5. Just give them $5 so they ain't had to give me change because I don't be feeling like walking around with change anyway. And so I'm sitting here and I'm just observing the place. I'm just observing the place. I'm observing certain rewards are here, there, and it's got a hole in the wall look, but the stuff looks together. Like they got stuff that's together. It's got, a digital board, a digital menu board, the way they got their point of sale system. It was like 3 black women working there and 1 white dude. The white dude was a cook, 2 black women at the top. And they got a thing where the phone is right there by the POS system, so they could take calls, do all that. And so it's actually, from an operational standpoint, it's actually a decent setup. And it was funny because there was 2 other black chicks. These are country people. These on the younger end, and they were talking about how they saw one chick on TikTok, and that's how they came in there. And he was asking me like, how did I come here? I said I just saw a whole bunch of people, but in this motherfucker, and I'm hungry, so I decided to come in this bitch. So. I'm still here. Hold on 1 second. So anyway, so so we talking, and yeah, and the stuff is very well priced. Blah blah blah. It was good food too. It was good food. 'Cause I got the regular shit just to test it out, and I'm thinking like, cause it's mainly black people go in here, and it's in a black kind of a more blacker side of the town, but it is downtown. And I'm thinking, it is no, ain't no more blacker. It is black. And you just looking at it, like people paying, people working here, blah 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 blah. Just one place. And TikTok is where the other 2 people said they found, because they weren't on TikTok. It was more so like, in fact, the older chick that they saw on TikTok was in there too, because I think she was another cook. And you see that stuff like recycle, and you think about it, like it's one thing. You like, the shit is not hard, man. Like, it's not hard to make shit that people want to eat. It's not hard to get money out of it, and it's not hard. We look at this shit like it's so fucking hard, and it's not. It really isn't. And it's people going there and servicing it, like. And so when people talk about black owned stuff, like, it's not hard. Like, people try to act like it is. I was actually thinking about something else too, where when you look at Asians and how they teaching people to do the point of sale system. The thing about it is, you legit should probably, like, there is a thing where you could literally have, you legit can have churches or whatever literally teach kids on different part of the supply chain when it comes to a store, where it comes from, a store, a warehouse, a manufacturing facility, like taking these people on trips, drilling these kids on different stuff when it comes to customer service, when it comes to being able to sell something, being able to put something together. Like, it's not even about entrepreneurship. It's just understanding a different side of the economy that people are blind to. And nobody talks about that. Like, literally, you could have, this is what it is to work here. And usually that's what apprenticeships are. And I've talked about how you have to make it worth people's while in order you have to make it worth people's while in order to when it comes to, oh, we need kids, we need people to help mentor the youth. Well, you got to make it worth somebody's while to do that. That guilt trip bullshit ain't it. If you want somebody to quote unquote mentor the youth, then you have to make it worth somebody's time to do that. And that's what people don't talk about. Where on the one, that's where apprenticeships, and that's where, you getting labor, you getting cheap labor, but you teaching them how to do the shit by being in an environment and seeing stuff. Yeah, I'm back. Press 1 if you can hear me. They're not interested in the slightest. Just like how these agents be having these kids work in these schools, you literally, like with the internet and everything, you literally can put people in damn near digital environments where they learn the principles of certain stuff. Like, they don't need to be in school necessarily to learn that shit. A business, of what, being able to see their environment around them. Doing that in a way that's interactive with people that is interactive. Call it hustle or something. Something that's going to actually get them engaged in it and not necessarily like that. People could be like the church. Really, I would say the church is supposed to do that, because those are the ones vacuuming the money out of the community. People should be trained on, if you're going to get a house, take this course. It free. Take this course that's going to break it down. What do you like when it comes to credit and all of that? You have some program, or what programs actually help you do that? Because NAC actually does a good job at doing that, but they don't really teach you on what is the paperwork involved with actually getting a house. They don't tell you you can put multiple incomes on a house. They don't tell you that. So you be like, wow, what's the point of having a job, having legit money? The point of having legit money is that can serve as an income. Or if you're doing illegitimate money, you can put that as a down payment. Where did the money come from? It don't matter, because they're not really checking that. They just care if you can make the payments. But see, that's the shit people don't think about. You would think people would be smart. Some people are. They'd be smart enough to put that money in a house, so if they need to get the equity out of it, that's a way to park the money. So if you got to get equity out of it later, you might be able to. But people don't think about that, because again, and some people do, but a lot of us don't, because see, this is the game that niggas always be talking about. Game is everything, but nobody never fucking talks about. This is that game that everybody always talks about, always thinks yeah, man, game is game, but they never really, you don't ever hear like any like snippets of, okay, there's more here. Shout out to Alonzo Hall, who's somebody that, like, definitely, if I'm trying to do something with insurance, I would definitely call. Like, it's a lot of shit that a lot of people don't know, but they don't even know where to go to get it. No, that's not the air fryer, that's something else. I was actually, game is game, nigga. So my point is, these kids, like, you want to have them be kids? Nah, these kids, but like, they should be knowing shit, bro. They should be like, you got kids that don't, like, I've seen what it looks like for kids to be raised at a certain age. You got kids that don't know shit about it, or people that are 18 years old and they don't know shit about shit. And I mean, like, shit that I know their parent, like, I'm not even talking about no degree. You got kids that don't know shit, but their parents got college degrees. I'm talking about practical shit. But they don't think about that. Even when you get a college degree, like all these black nurses, shit, motherfuckers should know how to really work their health. Anyway, but my point is, this shit is way more possible than a lot of people like to give credit for. It is way more possible than people like to give credit for. But when it comes to really teaching motherfuckers, I mean, Powernomics is the template. But I'm talking about really, like, motherfuckers should have a situation like, whatever day, dude, just pick a day or something. I don't know. Like, it don't even got to be the whole day. It could be a couple of hours, where it could be hours even before the place fucking open. Where people just go in the store, you see this was behind the scenes, see this. You can't do that when niggas, then motherfuckers try to rob it. But my point is, what is it to do this? What does it look like? What does it actually involve? And be like, everything ain't got to be no beautiful storefront. Because even him, that dude ain't sitting there pushing TikTok and all of that. That dude has that. That place has been around for 20 years. That place has been around for a long time. And you have, and I know that because people have been going in there 20 years. That's what they were saying. And 20 years is 2005. That ain't even that long ago. And the dude that's the owner, he ain't like, oh, he ain't busting his ass in there either. He's got employees. That's another thing. People think you got to work your job and never leave. No, you get that thing to a certain extent and you ain't got to be there like that. He's got his employees running that shit. I think he's more of like a manager role. Where it's like he come in there and make sure the shit running, but other than that, because it was funny because he was like, you know, they was joking. It's like, yeah, I ain't got to cook, man. I get these motherfuckers to cook something I want. And I take that shit home. It's my place. And I put in a review, like, motherfucker eat his own food. And that's a black dude with a place like that. Again, there's a lot of people we know can cook. Truth be told, you ain't even necessarily like, dude, like, if you really know how to put food together, man, that's a hustle you can always go back to. Like, real talk. Even if it's like even if a church want to have like a sale and you be like, look, you pay me and I'll put the shit together out of the house, and then you take that and sell that, but you getting some money, like, it's, you know. But again, people don't think like that because everybody ain't supposed to be an entrepreneur. Everybody don't got to be entrepreneur, but there's difference between being an entrepreneur and everybody don't want to be an entrepreneur, but everybody want to be a hustler. A hustler is an entrepreneur. What are we talking about? There's levels and degrees to shit. But because we don't teach ourselves the other side of the economy, we don't see the value in that. And I'm saying all of this because we don't see the actual, in your brain, the tangible value of what an environment looks like. I said this before and I'll say this again. There's 5 types of commercial real estate. Office space, retail space. Usually you see in the hood, you're seeing retail space, storage units, trailer parks, and apartment complexes. Those are the 5. You've got obviously other stuff like industrial shit. You've got like data farm stuff, pharma stuff, medical, obviously, medical real estate, obviously. But when we're talking about what you can invest in, usually in the black communities, you may see office space, but usually you're going to see retail space. A lot of times storage stuff is usually going to be put, it's not common. Retail space, apartment complexes, and I'd say a third is storage space. But really, black people don't be having storage space like that anyway. But usually they'll be, you know, sometimes they'll be over there. But usually that's more in the other commercial districts. Then you talking about trailer parks. A lot of Hispanics are in trailer parks now. So that's another thing people don't think about. Hispanics are, because truth be told, Hispanics housing, they got a different housing culture than what we have. They're willing to go to shit that we're not willing to go to. Black people, you're not going to generally see it in no trailer park. Hispanics will have trailer parks that are just mainly all Hispanics. And they're slightly different than white folks. That's cheap housing. See, people don't think about that. I'm not saying you should be in a trailer park. I'm just telling you what it is. That's cheap housing. And they'll have those modular homes. And they'll be in like a modular home kind of park thing. And they'll be very condensed too. And you have them like they're everywhere. They're just one off street away. And so my point is, you know, in how like people don't visualize that. And when you understand that, you can look in your area and see, oh wow, all these apartment complexes being built. All these fucking whether it's new retail space or you have a bet, like when I went yesterday in the Hispanic district, that was a retail space I went into when y'all saw International Foods and all of that. Now that stuff usually will light up more later, like tonight or yesterday night, because you know because that's a clubbing area, and you know a lot of times those areas can be kind of sleepy. right? And so my point is, you don't, when people talk about the community, they can't even properly articulate to you what the community actually is. Hit up the Cash App if you picking up what I'm putting down. Shout out to Nate for that $21 Cash App yesterday. And shout out, $22 actually. And shout out to Lion for the $5. Much appreciated. They can't even articulate to you, like, let's say, okay, let's have a real, what they're trying to do is they trying to get you to help them and their kids. They trying to hustle. I mean, they got a few huge grocery stores. They got like, yeah, it's like 5 or 6. There's one near my house. My bad. I know y'all talking about. I will look and test it out today and make it so I'm going live horizontal from now on, because I know y'all like that. And that's better for the replay. So I'll do that after this stream. Yeah, like the one, you saw the one. There's another one. No, that might be an Asian grocery store. There's probably more Asian big grocery stores than Hispanic, but there's a lot of small ones too. There's Caribbean, yeah. I mean, if you know what to do and know where to go. Hell, we got a Jamaican food chain called Golden Crust. With the Jamaican food chain. It's so people can't even, like, real talk, people can't even reckon. Well, it's a target for grifters because where the people is, where the headspace the people are. The reality is, if you have enough baseline information in a you know, a certain level, a certain percentage of the people, it's gonna be hard pulling that shit. It's gonna be harder pulling that shit. But my point is, when you really can you even articulate? Well, I'm letting these motherfuckers go. What are you talking about? If you can't even articulate what the community looks like, but you can't, because it's not really about the community. It's about you getting help and you trying to hustle some help. That's what it is. You're trying to guilt trip men that you didn't sexually validate. Men you didn't sexually validate. You don't plan to sexually validate. Men you're not providing anything else. It's not like you're doing anything else. You don't plan on giving any reciprocation. It doesn't have to be sex, obviously, but any reciprocation. You just want them to help so they can feel good. Fuck that. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. It's funny because Professor Black Truth came up with a really, really great term that I think, yeah, well, going great. Yeah, I know it's not just here. I know it's a Southern thing, but I know it's not just here. But I know they're expanding pretty strong. But Professor Black Truth called it psych. You know, there's a couple of things that's in North Carolina and Atlanta. Because remember, Atlanta and Raleigh are 6 hours away. So when you look at, like, you know, all of the local cluster areas, a lot of stuff Atlanta got, they're gonna usually put it here too, because there's a lot of money here as well. And remember, this is another capital as well. But Professor Black Truth calls it psychic benefits. He calls it psychic benefits. And this is, I think, a great term. This is a term that needs to be repeated. I think you need to attribute it to him. But that's what it is, psychic benefits. And there's a lot of shit that black men do for psychic benefits. Pats on the head and shit like that. And I'm not about to help your kids for psychic benefits. Truth be told, I'd rather help kids of motherfuckers I know that actually did it right, and I know that's doing it right or doing it as close as they can to right, that I personally know, then I would help some random motherfuckers. This is the thing. You're supposed to have a village around you, and I haven't do that. I don't make the habit of doing that. So don't act like that's like a confession or anything. But I'd rather, you know, this is where you're supposed to have godfathers, godmothers. This is where that shit came from. But people got away from that shit because really it just, because you ain't gonna usually do no godmother or godfather on no single mother shit. Because that's you making a real commitment that you may have to be called upon you may have to be called upon, you know, because, you know, she gonna need help because she don't know how to have a man. You see how that works? That's why you don't hear about that as much as you used to. And even with helping people, your family and people and when we say helping, we're not talking about, you know, they fucking up and you helping them. We're talking about an add-on. We're talking about, all right, I got some money and I'm trying to get under this certain, you know, tax bracket because I done fucked up. And I got a couple of friends that I know, they kids about to go to high school and they got great grades. They already ready to been accepted to school. I need to drop $20,000. Okay, I got like 4 kids. Okay, I know. Let me hit them with some scholarships. And then I can claim that as a donation. Shit like that. And you be like, that's specifically what you got to use it for. Shit like that. But people don't think about shit like that. We're not talking about, well, motherfuckers are fucking up, so I'm about to throw good money after bad. That's not what I'm talking about. What the fuck is going on? What is going on? Hold on 1 second. Oh, my bad. They got that fucking Christmas parade going on. That's what that shit is. Okay. I was wondering what the fuck that was. Let me get the fuck out of here. So they don't think about that. They don't think about that. Like the practical. So when you start having this community, they're like, no, because y'all want help. And I wish y'all just be honest about that. Y'all want help. Y'all want help, but y'all don't want to ask for it because y'all don't want to owe black men shit. That's some immature shit. That's some immature and sad ass shit. And what they don't want is for black people to start creating communities elsewhere, because when they do that, now y'all really look stupid. Y'all really look dumb as fuck. Because now y'all look like y'all left yourself behind. So it becomes a crab in a barrel kind of thing. It is what it is. I know, that actually, now that I'm thinking about it, that's actually a good point. How does it make sense to have a Christmas parade? That's why that threw me off. I'm like, I'm thinking it's an ICE protest. Oh shit, because they were blocking every part of the road. I'm like, oh, they out here for real now. Fuck this shit now. The Christmas parade is really a trap. That would be funny as fuck, right? It's a trap. They start playing the song, Ice, Ice, baby. Like, no! Get him! Get that ass! Show me your papers! No! No! Show me your papers, motherfucker! He said we just malfunctioning slaves. Ed, be careful. They just took down my other YouTube account for no reason. I mean, my account has been around this long, but I'll keep that in mind. Show me your papers. Yeah. And that's what it is. And it's like, yo, you just leave them where they lay. You just make it clear. This is what they on. And black men have been keeping quiet for the longest time. But when you actually see the community in a very clear way, almost like Neo in the Matrix where the code goes gold, where you can actually see, like, it's almost like you can look it up like Grand Theft Auto or some shit, where you can see this here, a gas station here. Because we ain't talking about even gas stations from a commercial real estate standpoint. And you can see all of that, like, very clearly. You can see all of that. You see, like, what these, you know, retail space here, a little bigger ones, smaller ones, A class, B class, C class. You know, tire shops, different, you know, small businesses, different types of small businesses, as far as, you know, a tire shop, a restaurant, this. Then you look at the food truck game, where that's cash business, with Square. When you understand all of that, man, it'd be like, yo, like, for real. It'd be like, yo, you see how it all comes together, and then motherfuckers are just Night of the Living Dead, just fucking Walking Dead, just walking around not knowing what's in their area, even from a real estate standpoint, not understanding the financial paper. See, people can talk about Grand Theft Auto, and yeah, you know, but even Grand Theft Auto low-key introduced you to that. You know, what do you got to do? You're doing all this stuff. You got to put the money somewhere. You got to, you want to get into these little businesses, you know, different stuff that works on some Sim City shit. That really teach you what that shit actually is. It don't really give you the mechanics of it, but you see it's there. Even if the way you getting the money is on some bullshit, but you get what I'm saying. You know how Grand Theft Auto, you get the business, this is what it is. This is how the money's actually generated. That's why I like Ozark so much. Because Ozark really gave you, that's another show that really showed you what it is. If you understand how these things work at that level, you just start it up. But again, the women are not doing that. What the women are doing is participating in hyperconsumption. The women are not on the manufacturing side. They're participating in hyperconsumption. And they're not really building, and you can have, consumption is only one way of having things. There's different ways of having things, but they don't understand that. This is why I always laugh when they talk about how educated they are. I'm like, y'all are not really educated like y'all think y'all are. Y'all are just indoctrinated in a certain direction. You all are indoctrinated in hyperconsumption. The true educated understand that's not how you get the things you want. That's not. You create things to give you the things. That's a different way of thinking about it. And there's levels to it, but it is a different mindset. I mean, it is like, if you talk about them doing, you know, YouTube can do what the fuck they want to. This is why, you know, this is why that Discord is going to be important. Because it's going to be like, everybody should have their own personal way for people to gather outside these social media platforms. Exactly. Consuming indie. Yeah. Well, even here's the thing about the consuming Indian hair. You're absolutely right about that. But there's, again, degrees to it. Like, you could be on some, okay, if black women are going to buy Indian hair, you're only going to be able to sell this shit through black stores. Meaning, if black women are putting their stamp of approval on it, then it ain't gonna be sold, because we just gonna lie and say it's got lights or whatever. So we'll deal with the Koreans if they know how to play ball on that, or we'll deal with the Indians if they know how to play ball on that, or the Brazilians if they know how to play ball with that. And we'll go, and the way you do that, this is how you do that. How you do that is a black woman or a black man needs to create a brand and makes it so black women trust that brand and no other brand. meaning that becomes a premium brand of buying hair. Meaning, if you buy this hair, this is going to be certain quality. It's going to be certain this, this. We price it well because we can buy it at a bulk number. Because people will invest in that because they know how these bitches are with their hair. These bitches care about wigs more than they care about their own hair. You can expand that into wigs. Hell, you can get involved with the white bitches and expand that into extensions. Real talk. And be like, if it's this hair, this is premium. And it's black owned. And if they try to, you go cheap, yeah, you may not get everybody, but you'll capture a certain percentage of the market enough to where people have to play ball. Or they're gonna have to lowball you in order to beat you, which means inevitably the black women will get a better price for the hair. Because there's the hair and then there's how to put it in. That would even be better. And then you start talking about this is how to care for it, this is how to protect your hair, blah, blah. You do a whole thing with that. But they don't even do that. Because again, with black women, everything they do is in defiance of their blackness, which shows up in their defiance of black men. Everything. That's why they have a certain mentality for everything they do. Because that's what it comes down to. Everything they do is defiance. That's how it's seen. That's why it's like it don't make sense. Because you're rebelling against being black, and that shows up in rebelling against black men. So everything black men say is seen as a buy-in to being black, which is why they always rebel against it. Which is why they always act like we can't say shit. They may throw up bullshit ass excuses, but it doesn't matter. Because it doesn't matter who's saying it, because it's gonna be, I'm not sexually attracted to you, or you ain't shit, you an ain't shit nigga. So even then, JP, it doesn't have to be, okay, they don't buy, which they shouldn't. They shouldn't be doing that, because they're actually destroying their own hair, and they pass that down to the next generation. Especially with men not being involved, these women these chicks, their ears are getting pierced early as hell. It's a lot of things these women are doing that a man would basically stay these chicks' hands, that a lot of these girls are not protected from, because these women are on one. And they ain't got nobody in the house to say, bitch, that's some stupid shit. Why are you doing that? Because they're the only authority figure in the house. Now, these women will love to talk about toxic masculinity, but they don't never talk about toxic femininity, where there's nobody else to protect these kids from a lot of these bitches and their machinations. Which is why you produce these baby's kids today. That's what you got. You got a baby's kids problem. Yeah, I agree with you, Zulu. You do. And the problem is, when you say that, people be on some. And it's crazy because it's 2025, man. Like I said, the earliest Z's are about to be 30 next year. And we still talking about, arguing about multiple streams of income. It's like, it's obvious these jobs don't give a fuck about you. They don't. So it's like, y'all talk about a career. Ain't no career at one job. That shit don't even exist like that for real. Not at one job. You may have a career doing the same thing, a similar thing, but like my brother today. I talked to my brother yesterday. He's a warehouse supervisor. He gets like 80K. And by the way, which is not bad for somebody that didn't have a college degree, but 80K, and he knows how to put together the actual like inventory and program. So he's one that's he ain't never out of it, like he ain't never out of a job long. But he's actually about to jump on another job with a white dude he worked with 12 years ago. That's the owner. of a much better situation than what he's been in, because he's dealing with a whole bunch of white people that don't know what the fuck they're doing. So what they do is he's having to plug in their bullshit. He said, JP Morgan's a solid strategy. Indian hair, hypothetical, you always been a genius. I mean, I'm just a thinker. I know Glenn Beck used to say that, but I'm just a thinker. I don't consider myself a genius. If I be a genius, I'd be in a couple of million by now. But I appreciate the $10. But I'm just telling you these things. There's practical reasoning behind this. This is not just some shit that I'm just talking out my ass. Like there's an actual plan of action when it comes to this shit. And the reason why it's important for a brand is because the brand communicates all of, you saw that, what would he say, Frank Lucas on American Gangster. He said they don't know me, but they know the brand, they know the quality, they know whatever the brand is invested in, whatever that brand demonstrates. Just like with Honda, when you think of Honda, you don't think of luxury. What do you think of when you think of Honda? You think of quality. You think of it will last. You will think of, I don't have to worry about this car breaking down. You think of, if it does break down, most of this shit is going to be relatively easy to fix. You think of, that's what you think of. If you need luxury, that's what Acura is for. When you think of Nissan, you don't necessarily think of quality, but you think of, I'm gonna be riding clean and not break the fucking bank. That's what you think of. Kia is about to take that shit from Nissan. All Kia really need is a decent black sponsor, somebody that's urban, but not somebody that's gonna make white people not want to buy that shit. Because I'm telling you right now, Kias are the new Nissan. And they're built better too. The problem with Kias is Kias get stolen like a motherfucker. When you think about that, right? You think about, that's what you think about. With brand, it's the same thing with a brand. You have to build that in a brand. You have to build that in the consciousness, which is why when you be like, why do people do commercials at the Super Bowl or shit like that? 2 reasons: exposure and status. 2 reasons: exposure and status. For companies that you already know who they are, it's status. For companies you may not know, it's a quick way of doing exposure. That's what commercials are for. All commercials are, the internet is more direct sales, but commercials traditionally has been for that. To brand is about, it's an investment in the brand. And that's usually done with money that's all revenues that's already generated. It's just an investment in the brand story. Brand is no different than a story and what story and reputation. JP Morgan, no nigga, I said is genius, a hypothetical effective strat generated on the fly in real time. Name 10 others who think at that level. I mean, I appreciate that, but I like to add a little bit of humility with it. But my point is, I'm coming at this, from a practical way. But no, absolutely. But you gotta remember too, this is kind of what I do too. Notice how I'm bringing that back to marketing. So this is what I'm part of what I do. But I definitely appreciate it, man. I'm not no angry giver. You be like, oh nigga, fuck you for saying that, nigga. Dudes that don't know how to accept shit. But yeah, man. But I'm just telling you, this stuff can't happen. This is not some, we know how much black women love their weave. This stuff this definitely can happen. Actually, it is somewhere I need to go. This stuff can definitely happen. So when you hear, people talk about this, they're not explaining these things. they're talking about this in a kind of tertiary way, or outskirt way, and they just talking out their ass. Yeah, no, absolutely, man. But I appreciate it. Hey, man, I appreciate you putting some money on that shit too. So that's how I know you mean it, man. But yeah, but that a black woman could do that. A black woman could do that. And that's something you wouldn't just, I mean, come on, man, let's keep it all the way real for a second. Them Nigerians, them Africans be wearing trash ass weave. So there is something to be said about, putting together better weave and better technique so that they look better than what they be doing. I don't know what the fuck goes on with how. And I get they don't have the money that we have in America, but there's something to be said about getting that weave cheaper, at least to the point over there you sell it at a certain price, even though the margins are probably not as good, are going to be as good. So that's a global situation you can legit do. Shit, we let that Liberian create Shea Moisture here, and then he tries to take over the Essence Festival and turn it into an African festival. And my point is, hell, I talked about that bitch ass motherfucker that kicked me out of that goddamn Discord. It's crazy because I brought up the fact, you want to talk about brand and marketing, I brought up the fact that you should have a black Miss Universe. So a Miss Universe is tailored for melanated women. It's tailored for melanated people. And it's not just tailored for melanated women or black women. It's because it's black women all over the world. So you can have a black Miss Columbia, black, all of that, right? And it's tailored. And it's not just for the women and their egos, it's for companies and brands to invest in. Because that's you basically codifying black beauty in a certain way. This is the type of shit Kanye could have did, low key. And because you can bring in all these brands, it ain't even got even black brands, some of them be mainstream, that, they tap into the black market, but black brands, makeup, hair, all of that, right? Black dressers and all of that. You create black competitions locally or statewide or whatever. Yeah, he's Liberian. Yeah, the dude that owned Shea Moisture, that sold it, and then he's always been Liberian. And he owns Essence. He's Liberian. That's why he turned into African thing like that. Which is a betrayal when it comes to Liberians, because they're supposed to be more in the United States spirit influence. But that's a whole nother story. But my thing is, and I'm gonna tell you, the dudes, these were younger dudes. These are dudes in their like mid-20s, some early 20s, some late 20s, and they got real, like black men, they got real excited about that because they really thought it was a really good, it was like, yo, and these are not dudes that are like, dude, this was a suit, this was a pro-black like space, this was like regular motherfucking space. And I went into it and I laid it out because I said it's not about just the females and their fucking egos. That's gonna be something that'll be a benefit, but what it's really about is it's really about the infrastructure of that. It's really about the companies that will market themselves, because obviously you're concentrating a black target market, because clearly black women would be invested in something like that, especially if the woman that won it would go to like Miss Universe or some shit like that. Then you're talking about, so you're aggregating a black female market on a global stage that you're actually segmenting like country to country, so different markets. So it's not just, it's an organized market that you're segmenting. Then you're segmenting, so certain black brands, then you talk about people that'll put together the hair, the makeup, the dresses, all of that stuff is, it's levels to it. Not to mention the venues and all of that. Not to mention this provides a way for black men to invest in something black and still get the benefits of saying, look, I support black women. So like a Robert Smith, an NBA player, it's like a domino effect. And you're not just dealing on the other side too, and really I came up with this because they was talking about which bitches, which black females look better in different parts of the world, and they haven't been to these parts, so they don't know. So I was telling them, and I slicked it because if I went passport bro on them, there was females in the damn thing, and they would have got mad because these were these type of bitches that were on there. That's what I was fucking bringing to that damn shit. And then these motherfuckers get all mad and shit, talk about just blowing up at me. I'm like, and I told that bitch straight up. I was like, at the end of the day, you're not saying shit. You like I told her, I said real talk. I get on like I'm in this damn voice note and I'm quiet for 45 fucking minutes and y'all ain't saying nothing. I'm sorry, y'all on some hangout spot and y'all up here in a fucking voice chat and y'all ain't really saying shit. I'm just gonna say it right now. The shit y'all saying is trash. And there was some people that started laughing because they knew it was true. Y'all not speaking, like none of y'all, like for the most part, ain't saying shit. Even when y'all are commenting on quote unquote trending topics, the shit y'all saying, and it was like, this is garbage. Okay, so they are in there. So I'm about to go get my hair cut. And then the next day, that bitch ass dude blocked me. And he didn't, and what made it so bad is he didn't even have the nuts to actually like block me right there. He waited till the next day and they had a conversation. Apparently he had a conversation with a bitch. I guess the bitch is his I might as well call her his mama. And then people have been feeding me information in that group, and they told me that group don't even be hitting on shit for real. I said, no, I don't. And I said, when I build, and I'm gonna come back to that group one day, and I'm gonna build that shit. I'm gonna build that shit because I'll probably have different usernames, and I'm gonna go in that bitch, and I'm gonna build this shit, our shit, and I'm gonna be like, you know what? I built this shit 10,000 strong because your bitch ass blocked me. So guess what? You want red pill takes? You about to get red pill takes, motherfucker. Hoe ass nigga. Nigga was talking about before, like, let me tell you something. It was a dude that was basically sending like weird, I think dick pics to random bitches and was tricking them into going into certain chats to do it. They gave that motherfucker, they called it a trial. They gave that motherfucker a trial. They didn't even give me a trial. They just got rid of me. Talk about, bitch, I do what she said. Are you an Andrew Tate supporter? And I'm like, man, you bitches. And I said, that's why a lot of these motherfuckers ain't gonna help y'all as not this shit bad, because this is how y'all act. So yeah, y'all gonna suffer. And like I said, I'm gonna flip as many niggas as I can, so y'all don't have it easy. I need to do a Patreon. How much haircuts? What do you mean, how much hair? You mean barbershops? Yeah. But ultimately, man, you mean barbershops? It's a lot of barbershops in my area. There's Dominican barbershops as well. But my point is, that's the shit I was bringing in there. Nobody was, and they were really excited. Getting the males excited about something that has to do with the women. Nah, these women, like, that's what it is. These bitches are stupid. That's why you don't really do shit. Even if you do shit for them, it's got to benefit you directly and indirectly. Because these bitches, again, if a white person would have said that shit, them bitches wanted to talk about Love Island all the fucking time. Reality fucking TV that ain't even real. Like I said, these motherfuckers, and this was a dude that had this Discord. And I said, this is gonna be this is gonna be basically a bitch Discord. So the bitch is basically running. And that's gonna show up in your social media. No, they didn't take over no black men barbershops. They have their own. But there's quite a few. It's not like the tire industry where Mexicans control the tire industry. No, black men, man, nigga, you know, black men get their hair cut from black men. But it's enough Hispanics in here to get kind of haircuts like that they have. It's a couple. That's the one thing that black men are going to control, black barbershops. So that's what I'm saying, man. This stuff is not just the storefront. It's also the supplier front. It's a lot of stuff. That's how that money actually moves. And so when you think like that, that's what Essence Festival could have been doing. But instead, you want to do some bullshit, making some African Fest in the United States. Nah, my haircuts are cheap compared to everybody else's. Like my barber will cut my hair for like $40, and that's including like a $5 tip that I give to him. And I get my hair, goatee, all that stuff. I wasn't sure if they were open because you getting close to Thanksgiving. So I'm like, I need to get it done while I can. Normally I don't go in there this early. I will start putting more stuff on. Like I've been like trash. Like anybody that like left my Patreon, I definitely understand and I do apologize. Like I'm definitely gonna start doing better about putting stuff on the Patreon. Like because that's really no excuse. Because honestly, a lot of this content I could have set up a month in advance and then turn around and just add stuff as stuff comes up. There's really no excuse for that. And that is something I do want to get my Patreon up there. Yeah, shape-ups are like $20. I mean, you know, like my barber's an old school barber. He owned a place. He's not about to sit in there and do some fucking, you know, some of these niggas be doing $100 shit. And I'm like, dude, if I'm gonna give you, nigga, just to give you an example, I know somebody that detail my car for $150. Like, I can get my car detail. I can get my car detail and get that person to come to me for $150. I'm talking about internal. To do internal and external would be $250. I know somebody that can do that and clean my tires and rims for $165 versus a haircut for $100. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here, man. The only way I would do that shit is, nigga, you would have to come to me. Now, if you had, now I'm gonna keep it real with you. I saw somebody, and I thought about this. Somebody, they had a box truck. They had a box truck, and this is something you can only do in like a bigger market. If you had a box truck and you actually went to certain people, and rather than them coming to you, you went to them and cut their hair. Because sometimes people ain't trying to be in traffic and shit. Shit, I pay $100 for that. But even with $100, I want the towel wrap. I want all of it. If I'm gonna pay $100, you're cutting my hair, you're doing the pencil, you're cutting my hair, you're doing the pencil. I'm really damn near expecting a shampoo and a towel wrap. That's what I want for $100. And then I might hit you with like another $20 for the tip. I wish I would. You just cut my hair. Get the fuck out of here, man. If I'm giving you $50, you do 20 cuts a day. That's $1,000. That's not bad. Like, or at least if you do 10, that's 500. And that, like in an 8-hour shift, you should be able to do about 10 cuts. That's $500, and that's cash. If you don't get the fuck out of my face. Yeah. And in cities like LA, where the cost of living is so high that like a city like LA, New York would be good, because New York is hard to get to people, but you're gonna be driving. New York, LA, I'd say Miami. Because some people, a higher clientele, it do be like, nah, man. And then people be like, but what about gas? Dude, you can deduct that shit. That's crazy deductibles. The gas, the car, especially if you just get an old box truck. Or you could upgrade into a Sprinter van. Cause you gotta think, man, if you do it like, if you getting like $100 a cut, that's $1,000 a day, dude. Like that's $1,000. Like a Sprinter van is like, and let's keep it real. You get a Sprinter van, man, a Sprinter van brand new is like 50 to 70,000. That's if you get the Mercedes-Benz one. And if you get, and that's 50 to 70,000. We talk about 100 a cut, and you doing like 10 cuts, dude. And then you not really putting a lot of mileage on that bitch. Truth be told, you get a Mercedes-Benz one that's like, and keep in mind, you can drive. You don't need a commercial real estate license. You don't need a commercial driver's license to drive a Sprinter van. It depends if it's over 10,000 or under 10,000 pounds, and it wouldn't be over 10,000 pounds. You can also get one like 50,000 miles, and that'll significantly cut down that cost because you're not really driving it like that. And not to mention, truth be told, a Sprinter van, you could have compartments in there for detailing cars. The you could have a barbershop business and a mobile detail business too, nigga. I mean, a lot of these young niggas be charging $100 for haircuts, yo. That's like the new thing. I'm not paying, like, I pay $40. And truth be told, my barber is a master barber that owns his own salon. Like, so if he could charge like $75 if he really wanted to. And I pretty much go in there when I want to, because he does really only schedules. But I call him the day of. Like, are you open? Like, there's a lot of shit you can get done. Yeah, it's a lot of shit you can get done. But anyway, the point is people are willing to pay for it. And that, because people will use that local Instagram marketing and shit. And some of these motherfuckers be having like these extravagant designs and shit, where I can understand why you would charge that. I do get that. But my main point, and I'm gonna end this in like 5, 6, 7 minutes. My point is, like, when you look at how hustling comes into regular business, there's a lot of shit that people don't really talk about. There's a lot of inside shit, behind the scenes shit, the ways that even like people deal in the economy that people don't think about. Even when you look at like the swap meet, even when you look at like, you know, flipping clothes, it's a lot of stuff that integrates with a lot of different stuff, yo. It really is. And that's one of the things that I'm really gonna be into in the Discord, in the new Discord, when we do it, is I want to break down that. I want to break down job opportunities, because some of y'all do got something to say about the deckhand shit. I want somebody, if they come in this bitch 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, there's some real, we gonna be talking about the shit we already talk about, but there's some real shit in here, because I'm gonna let you know all this shit these niggas talking about, when they talk shit about us, they not talking about this. They not on this. Actually, I know what I'm about to do. I know exactly what I'm about to do. I kind of fucked up. I see some more people cashed out. My bad. I don't know why it's not showing me who cashed out. But appreciate it. Yeah, man. It's a lot of shit. I need a hot oil treatment, actually. There's a lot of shit, man. And like I said, niggas be doing that. I've seen niggas charge $100 and they doing that shit outside their apartment. That's where my brother get his hair cut. I'm like, y'all don't even got overhead like that. Nigga, you do like fucking 20 cuts and you got your rent, man. If you don't get the fuck out of here, and them niggas be roommating with people. Now granted, cause I had to get my hair cut and I had to get it cut quick and my use my brother's barber. That granted, his shit was a decent apartment, so I ain't gonna hate on him with that, but you like, god damn, nigga. But anyway, you know, I like talking about shit like that because people be like, oh man, you know, people be like, oh, you just talk about your internet business. No, I don't promote my internet business necessarily by promoting the internet. I promote my internet business by promoting business and then showing you how the internet supercharges it. That's how I do that. You know, that's how I do it because that lets people know. No, I know about business, not just how to make money online. No, but and we're in 2025 and y'all still questioning that. Like, we passed that. It's AI now. Like, I actually need to get more about brands and stuff when it comes to AI shit. Cause they actually got products and stuff. They put your product. It's a lot of shit, man. A lot of shit. I look like fucking Raggedy Ann, whatever, man. People be like, no, man, we just on that network marketing shit. And I be like, I don't even do network marketing, but anyway, that, like, honestly, there's some really good products out there. I keep telling people. Gotta get in where you fit in. Like, honestly, that excess energy, those energy drinks, they're like no sugar and stuff. That shit is actually really good. That stuff is really good. And if you're trying to, like, you know, cut down, but people don't think about that. I actually got a supplier for that. Four five 4 9.
Just make sure that you use the chip on your card.
All right. Yeah, so people don't think about that, yo. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, my forehead is a certain way that I would never trust myself to cut my own hair. And that's one of the things That's like one of the main things I gotta when I go overseas. I gotta spend decent money on is like low key. If you know how to cut hair, like I'm not gonna lie, I would. Now I'm not gonna spend $100, but if I'm not gonna front. If I'm somewhere like long term overseas, like real talk, I would. Now you gotta understand what $100 is there, but so I shouldn't have to spend $100, but I definitely would spend $50, whatever. But then again, when you overseas, man, what they do for that money is like crazy. Cause I remember I got my hair cut in the Philippines, and they give you it's damn near the whole spa treatment. But I would pay that money. If I had to pay $100, I would. But you gotta understand, man, like $100, like if you go to Brazil and you get them $100 to cut your hair, dude, that's beyond a day's work. That's damn near like a week's worth of work. So that's a low-key really good hustle. And the thing is, that's another thing. If you already black and you kind of know how to cut hair, dude, if there's enough black men going down there, and truth be told, you got a lot of white dudes that they go into the barbershop because they're used to that buzz cut, that military buzz cut. And so they'll just go into the black barbershops to get that done. Like my barber has quite a couple of white dudes that do that. He'll usually point them to the other barbers because, you know, that's so easy to do. But yeah, man. So yeah, man, like that is a hustle. That is a hustle for real. Damn, that's a big ass fucking church. Yeah, it is what it is. It's an expense. Like for me, I get a haircut. Like I get a shape up. Usually I get a haircut like once a month, and a shape up I usually get like every 10 days. And if I gotta stretch it out, I stretch it out. But that's one of the good things about me, like working from home and doing my shit from home. I don't gotta worry. That's the only reason why I would be a little bit more on point on that if I gotta put my face on camera as well. I know Marty cuts his own hair. I mean, shit, that's a YouTube hustle in and of itself, cutting your own hair. Because I know it saves money. Yeah, man. Just like in the manosphere space, there's a lot of brands. Dude, man. Please, I would never. I had a white chick cut my hair once, never again. Never again. Never again. Yeah, if you don't want to look dusty. Sometimes I'll go a minute. I'll just because I'm trying to, you know, grow it out. But yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, man, nobody's breaking that stuff down economically. They're not making it real to people. What they're doing is they're just talking in this aspirational bullshit. Because truth be told, if you somebody you say you only get your money through a 9 to 5, you a fool. And that's really what these bitches be trying to say, but they do a piss poor job articulating it. But a lot of these chicks, you want a celebrity. Here's the thing, all y'all, they want a celebrity nigga, they want a rich nigga, they want a nigga with crazy motion. And it be like, it ain't enough, we know it ain't enough niggas like that out here. So that's just code for you sharing niggas. But y'all, and that's fine. But while you're sharing niggas, you're then turning around and then bitching about niggas, basically going their own way, dating outside their race. Cause it's like, bitch, if a man can get another decent bitch outside of his race, why would he deal with you when you playing? You treating a nigga like he a second option. You treating a nigga like you playing. And it's like, dude, a lot of dudes, especially in this age, again, next year, all millennials are gonna be 30 and up. All millennials are gonna be 30 and up. So this bullshit about you bitches talk about what y'all deserve, I'm like, yo, if you're a millennial, you 30 and up, bitch, get the fuck out of here with that. Get the fuck out of here with that. That wall is here. That's why you got India Love talking about she want to get married. Summer Walker stay sounding stupid. How old is Summer Walker?
9 years.
Yeah, Summer Walker's 29 years old. Summer Walker say there's my youngest brother. So Summer Walker is in that group. She is a last bus stop millennial. And she will be 30. I mean, that bitch is walking trauma. I mean, damn, I know Keisha Cole and Mary J. Blige want Trump, like, walking trauma. If you saying based on what you saw one of those kids, if the kid was 14 and 15, they need to be charged with assault as an adult. Cause you not sliding on somebody else in the game. You sliding on old, like, sickly women that's taking their kids to school. See, that's supposed to be against the game. Right there. That's not supposed to be in the game. They ain't connected to nobody. So you just doing violence for violence sake because you just got the energy to do it. And I'm gonna keep it real with you. That's why when people talk, you ain't supposed to hit people that are small. Nah, fuck all that. If you can do that, you can get hit. Those females should have got their ass whooped. I don't give a fuck how old they are. If you willing to be violent, like that, then you need to feel violence. Every police officer has to be tased in order to use a taser so they don't go crazy with it. It saves the police a lot of money in probably unnecessary lawsuits. Because tasing, the thing about tasing somebody is that's not like a gun where once the bullet leaves the trigger in an instant, you would be like, you made an instant decision. If you kill somebody with a taser or drastically harm somebody, they know you held that shit for a while. That's not that you had all that time to say no. So they said, nah, you're gonna feel this so you know what you're doing to somebody. I personally think a lot of women should have their ass whooped or be smacked. And look, granted, people will say, oh, that's wrong. No, they should be slapped by another female, an older female. I'm not saying a man should do it, a woman should do it. Because these women, because they get real, this thing where they can't have nobody put their hands on them, they get violent because they don't understand violence. And that's where we are right now. And they also don't understand what they're doing when they create violence indirectly. No, let the women do it. It ain't got to be a man. Let the women do it. But I'll say this, in their mind, all that tells them is something they already know, which is women know they can get hands from other women. Women aren't against women are really not against women hitting women. They're against men doing it. And so if you do that, all that's going to do is reinforce that violence can come to them from women, but they don't expect violence to come to them from men, which is why it really kind of should be men doing it. Because these women are starting to get violent and uncontrollable. And again, a lot of white people believe in the principle of social Darwinism. So all they're gonna do is use that and see what a lot of them females don't understand is they about to be locked the fuck up. Yeah, they're gonna lock the dudes up, but the women are gonna start getting locked up too in like massive numbers. That's what they don't understand. The next round is not gonna be, oh, we just going for the men again round 2. Because again, how shit is now, this is exactly how it was before, which is why the crime bill got done. And they kept the women out so the women can keep producing these motherfuckers. That's really what it is. You're producing these crazy motherfuckers, and you're sitting here, so that they not y'all like that's these women think it's gonna be able to hide again. No, they're not. No, the fuck they're not. They coming for you too, cause they still gotta fill these jails up. Cause they gonna come for you again. These jails starting to be repurposed for ICE shit. They, you know. That's what they don't understand. They don't understand that. Cause trust me, trust and believe. Like, so a lot of these women that want to act hella violent and shit. I'm telling you, a lot of these chicks need to get caught up for conspiracy to get shit done too. Because they women are the favorite for these people to go to when they snitching. Women are a favorite group to do that because they don't want to get in trouble. So they the main ones that's gonna tell. And when people talk about no snitching, they be talking about men, but really it be the women to be snitching. People forget that shit. All right, y'all. So we did 2 hours. I appreciate y'all hanging out, with me this early morning. Like I said, be looking out for some videos. I actually got some uploads. I haven't uploaded, so yeah. So appreciate y'all for checking out the video. And with that being said, this is Edward signing off. Peace.